Is that right?
This is a little bit.
Right, guess what? 6 o'clock snuck up on us. So welcome to the City Council meeting of the City of Yelm for November 12th, 2019. We'll call the meeting to order as we traditionally do with a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And clerk will take the roll.
Council members E.J. Curry. Here. Molly Carmody. Here. Cody Cole.
Present.
Ted Stillwell.
Present.
Tracy Wood.
Here.
Jody Pinto.
Here.
Dirk Minsky. Here. Mayor David Foster.
Right next to you.
Thank you.
Hard to miss. Okay, thank you. We now would like to look at the agenda, make sure that it's suitable for everybody tonight. If any,
Move to approve this evening's agenda.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so right away, we get to our special presentations, and we have two. One is our Student of the Month, and the other is a longer presentation that Habitat for Humanity will be presenting. We're going to go with Student of the Month first. And Sophie, would you stand up and be the center of our attention so everybody can see? Right up here in the front. And you do have your speech prepared? Yeah. Okay, good. We'll just thank you, I think. So as the council knows, and for anybody else in the audience who's unaware, the City of Yelm partners with Yelm Rotary and the school district to select a Student of the Month from the high school. And it's a wonderful opportunity to cast a light on one of our many awesome students. I'm fortunate in this case to have known Sophie, how old are you? 17. Yeah, for 17 years. So great family. Nice to see her parents here as well. And I'll just read what this is about. But before I do it, the Student of the Month also gets a $100 certificate of deposit from OliFed, a $50 gift certificate from Walmart, and $25 gift certificates each from Shiplap Coffee Shop, Masonry Cafe, and La Gitana.
Nice.
Very nice. And then at the end of the year, one of those students is selected as Student of the Year, and I think they get a framed picture of the mayor. Yeah, sign it, yeah. Oh, and a $500 certificate of deposit. So these
a scholarship.
A scholarship, thank you. These students are selected by the school, submitted to the Rotary as candidates, and the Rotary has a selection committee that chooses them. And so this month, we have Sophie Hall. Sophie's an outstanding Yelm High School senior. This Yelm High School Honor Society president contributes to our wonderful community in many ways, from volunteering at various activities through Honor Society to serving as camp counselor at Camp Coleman, 3 years running, and working with little kids at the Nisqually Watershed Festival every year. She's admired by staff and classmates alike as she always has a smile on her face, there it is, and a kind word for all. Congratulations, Sophie. And now, Sophie, well, if you'd come up here, I'm going to present you with this lovely plaque. And Rotary's going to come up too. And council will be here, so you hold on. Okay. And if council, if you can't see Grant, you won't be in the picture.
Yeah. I'm never going to be able to.
No. All right, we're good? Did you get one? Carol? All right.
I'm struggling to
I'll give this back to you in a minute.
Congratulations.
Deb, I think maybe you should probably start coming around behind us because we're getting about half the hands. Good job, good job.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Did a good job.
I mean, even I'm kind of...
And congratulations again. Thank you for coming. And can you, yes, that's the, there you go.
Thank you.
And now, although Sophie expressed a great desire to stay through the rest of the city council meeting, she has to go to the soccer banquet. Right, so
Thank
good
you,
luck with that.
guys.
Thank you very much for coming. Good job. Wonderful. So our next presentation, we have Bob and Corey from Habitat for Humanity, who are going to tell us a little bit more about what they do. Even though they're right across the alley, there's a lot more going on with that organization than you might know. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So my name is Carly.
I did it again.
It's okay.
Third
It's okay.
time's the charm.
Yeah,
Thanks, Carly.
no problem. And I'm the CEO at Habitat for Humanity. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening to talk with you.
Funny, Grant does that to everybody that comes up here.
Point it that way. Point it that way.
Pointed at
See, that helps.
So every time you point it and click, Lori's going to hit the button.
There we go. That works too.
So I'm sure most of you have, been to our store or seen our store across the alley, but Habitat for Humanity does so much more for communities, and I wanted to come tonight and just share with you. Thank you. That our mission is really to bring people together to build homes, community, and hope, and that we have a vision that every person deserves a decent place to live. So why homeownership matters, and not just homeownership, but affordable homeownership. For families, it gives them a chance to experience stability, build equity, and have something tangible to pass on to their children. For children, it provides them with health and safety, and an opportunity to be in the same school district, and to not have to wonder the next year if they're going to be in the same classroom or be with their same group of friends. And for communities, homeowners tend to be more active in their community. One of the things that I love to talk about with homeownership is that it really roots people into their community and makes them a part of it, and that's something that we put a lot of value on, something that's very important to what we do. So here in Thurston County, our affiliate serves all of Thurston County. What we build is we have 3 different models of homes. So we have a bungalow that's a 1-story, age-in-place, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 950 square foot home. What we do with all 3 of our house designs is we provide a missing quantity in the housing stock. When you go to buy a new home, almost exclusively, you're buying a house that's 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 square feet. We provide a starter home. We provide something that is 950 square feet. Our 3-bedroom, 2-bath cottage is the design that we use the most. It's 1,250 square feet. We also do a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, which is 1,450 square feet. So those are our 3 designs that we utilize right now. We're working to create both duplex and triplex options as well, so that we're able to increase density in each of the projects that we work on. So, lose it again. So, Deo Vista is what we're currently working on. So Deo Vista is at 37th and College in Lacey, and it is a 33-home cottage development. So, think walking out your front door into a green space where you're surrounded by your neighbors, and so there are 8 to 10 houses in a circle, and we develop them in a way that the space in the center is really the focal point. So this 33 house development has 2 playgrounds and 33 community garden beds. So each house ends up with a community garden bed. Currently, we've built 20 of these. So we're 20 of 33 through the development. And up at the top, you can see some photos of these are actual houses out at Deo Vista. Everything that we do inside of the house is Energy Star, and we follow Evergreen Sustainable Design standards. So, what we build not only is affordable and safe, but it's above building code, and it provides something for a family to be able to know that they're living in a quality home. We also, outside of just providing a house, we do home ownership services. So first and foremost, we do financial literacy classes for any person with any circumstance living in any place. So there's no kind of prerequisite to come to any of our financial literacy classes, which happen twice a month in partnership with First Security Bank. So we do these financial literacy classes in hopes that we are creating a structure for people to feel like homeownership is attainable to them in the future, whether it's through Habitat for Humanity or through a different means, that they're getting the education and the empowerment to be able to take control of their finances and build a better future for themselves. What we do outside of the financial literacy classes is we accept applications during certain windows of time for any person or family situation that is earning 30 to 80% AMI. So we put out, it will be this spring, we'll put out a flyer with exact income ranges depending on the size of the family, and we ask people to come in and apply. This isn't...
What's AMI again?
The area median income. So when people come in to apply, this is a heavy lift for people. It's, we originate and service mortgages, and so they're coming in and their application is a mortgage application. And on top of that, it's an application to Habitat. So it's looking at their ability to pay. That's one of the critical pieces that we look at. One of our values at Habitat for Humanity is that we're not giving a handout, we're giving a hand up. So everybody is paying an affordable mortgage. Everyone is purchasing their house. And that's a really critical piece. And everybody has buy-in to the process. And so, we consider what we're doing, giving people a pathway to homeownership, but we're not giving homeownership. So we look at the need, we look at the safety, we look at what are their circumstances right now. We do a home visit and we walk through and we look at, is there mold in the home? Is there critical situations happening that they need to be out of where they are right now immediately? Other pieces of need that we look at are cost burden. How much is their rent? Are they cost burdened because of the price of their utilities? Are there other resources that we can provide them in the meantime in the process? We also look at willingness to partner. So each of our homeowners, when they come into our program, does 500 hours of sweat equity. So every adult, person 18 and older that is going to live in that house does 500 hours of sweat equity. And what that means is that they are helping to build their house. They're helping to build their neighbor's house. When they move into their home, when they get their keys and they move into their home, they know all their neighbors. They have sweated with their neighbors. They have worked hard with their neighbors, and they have learned about each other. And so they're not walking into a community that they don't know anything about. They're walking into a home that they feel really comfortable with and where they know everybody that they're moving into. So need, ability to pay, willingness to partner are the three criteria that we look at when we select families. The credit score doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what, we look at their debt to income ratio and we look at the risk factors that come along with it, but we do not take that as a hard yes or no. We don't look at credit score, we don't look at bankruptcies, we don't look at collections and say you can't be a part of this program. We are truly a second chance organization. We don't even look at background checks and say you are not a part of this. We want to make sure that we are equitable and accessible to everybody, and so we do everything that we can to make sure that we are selecting homeowners and families that fit our criteria and show the greatest need. As they're doing their sweat equity and their 500 hours of sweat equity, so they're working on the build site, they're working in our stores, they're working in our office, and they're helping and they're volunteering and they're getting to know Habitat and they're becoming a part of the Habitat family. They're also on a monthly basis doing financial coaching with our homeownership staff. And so we're still helping them every step of the way. It takes 6 to 9 months to build one of our houses. And so during that 6 to 9 months, they are immersed in everything that we do. And they are working hard. They are also getting financial coaching. And so they're making sure that over the course of this time, they're learning everything they can to be better prepared to be homeowners, to understand what it means to be responsible for maintenance and not be able to pick up the phone and call somebody to fix something. You need to have an emergency fund set aside for things like this. And we explain to them the ins and outs of escrow and all the things that go into every piece of what they're getting into. And it's a philosophy of ours that they're not signing anything unless they understand absolutely everything about what they're doing. And so we work really hard to make sure that they have that. Big piece of this is also HOA education. So what's great about our communities is that they're HOA communities. We start as a developer, as the HOA board. And what we've been doing over time is we bring on new homeowners to be a part of the board, and we teach them. And so we bring in a homeowner and we teach them to be the treasurer, and we bring in a homeowner and we teach them to be the secretary. And the idea is that over time, when we're done with the development in a year and a half, we can step away and they can be a fully functioning HOA board and be confident and understand exactly what they're doing. And that's really important to us. And it's really important when we look at where we're building and we talk to the community and the neighbors around us, that they understand that we have standards in our community. And that it's important that, the way our HOAs operate is that they take pride in what they're doing. And more so than most homeowners, they take that pride because they've helped to build what they have. So, how you can help. I have had, a lot of people talk to me about what we can do to get more going. So one of the first things I want to talk about is land. We have a store here in Yelm. We would love to build in Yelm. We would love to build a community like Deo Vista here in Yelm. Some of the things that we have to take into account and that are tied to the funding that we use to build the houses is that we have to be able to pretty easily tie into city water and sewer and pretty easily be connected within a half a mile to transit. These are things that we look at, and those are usually the first things that when we see vacant land or land that is potentially an opportunity for us, those are the first hurdles that we have to overcome, is being able to find something that will be within those parameters and allow us to build the type of community that provides that access for our homeowners. We have, right now in our current development, 26% of homeowners are on public transit. And so it's something that's very important to us that we're taking that into account. But beyond that with land, we're really looking at, so when we sell a house to a homeowner, we are taking the appraised value, a third party appraises the house value, and that is what we sell the house for. We have no say in the sale of in the price of the house. We go 100% with the appraised value, and that is the price of the house. 100% of the time, the price of that house is not financially viable for our homeowners to be able to pay that and it to be under 30% of their monthly income going towards housing. So we end up subsidizing a piece of the mortgage. So we end up backing the sale price of the house down to whatever 30% of their monthly income is, and that's what we sell them the house for. What we then do is we write a silent second that we keep on our books, and we write the difference as a silent second. And that just upholds the equity of the house so that a homeowner couldn't turn around the next day and sell the house in 50 grand. So that's, we have no leverage in that silent second or anything comes from that. And so that's where, when we ask people to donate and shop in our stores, and we ask people to donate and do things for our organization, is because we're subsidizing the difference there. And on average, in the last year, we've lost $46,000 per house that we've built. As the price of homes continue to go up, that number is just going to continue to get bigger and bigger. So one of the most important pieces that we look at when we are purchasing land to create a development is that we're looking at the cost of the land and the cost of the site improvements and the infrastructure that is going to be kind of the all-in costs up front, because that makes all the difference in when we go to sell the house and lose the money, whether it's something that we consider affordable or not, and being able to do. So when we're looking at pieces of land, we're looking at, you know, are there latecomers fees associated with it? Are there, you know, traffic impact fees and things that are outside of the normal? And so those kind of all play into the kind of ups and downs of, you know, whether a piece of land is something that we would go after or not. And so it turns into a kind of a balancing act of making sure that, you know, we can, as much as possible, you know, I don't want to say break even, but not lose the most amount of money. So, you know, one of the best things that you can do for us is to just be an advocate for what we do and be a voice for home ownership. A lot of times when people talk about affordable housing, they're talking about rental housing, which is a great opportunity for people and a great in the moment fix. But it's something that over time, what we're doing, really lifting people out of circumstances and situations and putting them into stability for the rest of their lives. We're putting them into 25-year mortgage rate that isn't going to change. We're putting them into something where an affordable rent is still going to continue to go up. And so, you know, being an advocate for home ownership, critical. I would love to invite you to come and tour our Deo Vista community. We're currently, during the month of November and December, running tours on Mondays and Fridays. You're welcome to reach out to me, and I would love to take you on a tour and walk you through. We have 2 nearly completed houses and a home dedication on December 17th. So we'll be dedicating 2 more houses, our 70th and 71st house in Thurston County, and we would love to have you there and to see what we're doing and see how you can continue to be involved in what we're doing.
Questions?
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. On the silent second mortgage that you were saying, so say you sell a house to somebody for $150,000 and they're earning $15 an hour right now. Mm-hmm. Over that 25 years, say they get promoted and, you know, they go through school and everything else like that. So eventually they're earning, you know, $30 to $40 an hour. Do you sort of cost in that silent second or does the mortgage payment stay exactly the same, or does it increase?
It only increases in the property taxes and insurance might change. Okay. And we hope that they are able to do more. And we often see them be able to be more successful and take that next step because they're not having to worry about, you know, where they're going to get their next meal or if they can afford health insurance. And so taking some of that stress has allowed them to succeed, and, you know, it allows them to go to school, and it allows them to do things that a lot of times we hear they never thought they could.
I was just wondering if that would be a chance to give them more equity in their house if, you know, it's sort of a sliding up scale.
What we tend to see, or what we've seen so far, is for a good number of people, it's nearly 50-50. For about 50% of our homeowners, this is their forever home. And for about 50% of the people, this is their starting step into being able to do more. And on average, those folks that do end up selling their house stay in their Habitat home for about 9 years and then move into something more. And in that 9 years, they've built some equity.
Cool, thank you.
Carly, could you go on what we talked about the other day and say how the Habitat has the right of first refusal on if they want to move out, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So when somebody, in our latest development in Deo Vista, one of the things that we have done is when they sell, they have to sell to somebody that's 30 to 80% AMI as well. So the homes are forever affordable. And then we always, when they're going to sell, we have the right of first refusal. So they have to offer the house back to Habitat. And we have the option first to buy it back and put another Habitat homeowner into the home.
Thank you. Carly, first of all, thank you for coming out here and giving us a presentation. Very in-depth, so thank you. It's cool to see that, the Vista, what's it, Deo Vista?
Deo Vista.
Sounds really cool, and I'd love to take a tour on it.
Absolutely.
One thing you mentioned was the impact fees and improvements that cities require to like sidewalk and infrastructure. Have you looked into Yelm yet?
I haven't.
I'd be curious to know what you thought about our current impact fee structure and our requirements too. See if it's in your wheelhouse or if it's too high or whatever. So I'd be interested. Thank you.
Oh, Terry.
I was going to ask the opposite of what Molly asked. Are there times that people can just not keep up and then you've got to actually go in and help them? You don't foreclose on them.
Yeah.
You just keep helping them till the end.
Absolutely. So two different models that we have. We have the model that we originate and service the mortgages, where we have a lot more flexibility in what we're doing. And yes, we work with people. We work with people who have financial hardships or health circumstances that come up that take precedent, and we're able to work with them on payment plans and getting them back on track and all of those things. We also have started a program with OliFed where they are writing the mortgages and we are just the seller in the process, which has been phenomenal for us in that we're getting capital back at closing, and we're able to take that cash and put it right back into more homes. And so we anticipate in the next 2 or 3 years to really be able to scale our impact up quickly because of that. But we, for those homeowners that go through OliFed, we guarantee the loans. And so we keep a separate fund that if they ever fell behind, we'd buy back that loan.
That's really unique.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The sweat equity, it said 500 hours. Is that divided among a family? So like a husband, wife, or whatever?
They both have to do 500 hours,
Okay,
so it's 1,000 hours total.
Okay, got it.
And what we do is, because that tends to be a heavy lift for a 10-month time frame, we allow 100 hours to be donated from other people. So it's an opportunity for us to get more community members on our build sites and in our stores, and so we're asking them to bring their church members and bring their friends and their family to come and volunteer with them, and so it's also helping us to build our brand a little bit and get more people involved in more.
Good question. I wanted the same thing.
Thank you, Carly. I was curious, a couple of questions. I was curious how long you've been involved with Habitat for Humanity and second question is what was your motivation in jumping in with these folks?
Yeah, so I came on as the CEO in July of 2018, so almost a year and a half now. And I first got involved with Habitat for Humanity in 2007 after I was finished with college and couldn't find a job. I joined AmeriCorps and did 2 years of AmeriCorps, and I had the opportunity to build in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and it was a life-changing experience for myself, and the opportunity to build alongside homeowners and to hear their stories and to be put in a situation that, me with my privilege and not understanding much, coming into a completely different world and getting to experience that and to learn so much about the process, I was hooked immediately.
Sounds like you're passionate and have a clear understanding of it, and I think that Habitat's lucky to have you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, so I've had a chance to talk to Carly a little bit about these things, and we are going to be looking to talk to Grant about what we can do as a community to try to incentivize builders to perhaps work with Humanity. Habitat for Humanity for a future development project, because this fits exactly with what we're trying to do, infill our community, but with that affordable housing that's more in the middle than exactly what you were saying, the 2,500 square foot two-story that folks can't get into. It's a marvelous program. When I was at their breakfast the other morning, I was really touched by this one thought. This recipient spoke to us, and she said the ripple effect of being in your own home with an affordable mortgage is enormous. Like Carly mentioned, you can go to school, but she could actually buy a car, a real car. And prior to that, if her parents wanted her to visit them in Eastern Washington, they would rent her a car because they didn't trust the jalopy that she was driving in. And so now she's safer with a reliable transportation, and she can go to school and she can do all of these things, and the kids, it's just such a wonderful ripple effect, and the community concept instead of just a single house has really just bolstered that whole concept. So we're definitely going to work with you, and Bob Bredensteiner's here from their board of directors. Are there openings on the board, and would you be considerate of somebody from Yelm on that board someday?
Absolutely.
There's 7 really engaged people from our community here tonight that might be interested in that at some point.
If anyone is interested, we have a package that we can send describing the board responsibilities, an application, and we can send it to you, or we can bring you copies of it. If you know of anyone who would be interested, certainly get in touch with me or with Carly. We'll make the contacts.
Excellent. And then lastly, I just want to mention, you didn't really go into depth on shop. I don't know how many of you have been in the shop across the lane here, but it is a great place to shop, and they have some new things. Like, can you talk about the paint just for a moment?
Absolutely. Linda, do you want to talk about the paint?
Oh, no, go right ahead.
Linda is our store manager.
Yes.
So we have recently brought in green sheen paint, and so it's recycled paint that we are able to have on consignment, so we don't have to pay for it to have it in our store. And so anybody who purchases a gallon, which is $16 each, we're then able to use half of that towards building costs, and then the other half pays for having it in the store. But we're able to have like 16 different colors in stock all the time, both in 1 gallon and 5 gallons. So it just provides a little bit more stability in some of the things that we're able to carry in the stores.
And how many folks do you employ at the Yelm shop?
We have 5 employees.
So lastly, my question is, maybe we could have one of those financial literacy classes down here in Yelm one day.
I think we could make that happen. Yeah.
Have a nice place for you.
Yeah, I think we could make that happen.
Awesome. Tracy?
I know that we talked about getting involved. Sonia and I actually talked about getting involved with some work release kind of situations with, within our community rather than being shipped out of the community to Olympian larger communities. And I know Habitat for Humanity is one of those businesses that's very receptive to allowing folks to share that with them.
Something that we're still looking into. The hold up right now is that I believe they're selling iPads.
Right.
So we're kind of trying to look forward to.
Right.
But yeah, we're still in the works.
All right, well, with that, I want to thank Carly,
Thank
Bob,
you.
and Linda for coming out and inform us a little bit more about this great organization. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
I just want to say that Linda always calls me whenever they get something new and weird. I'm all like, come buy it.
And they're very prompt at picking up donations.
They are.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
Keep going. I helped on the first 2 Habitat houses that were built here in Yelm.
Yeah.
St. John's and I can't remember the other one, but yeah, we had a good time.
Very good. Well, thanks again. We're going to move on to our agenda, which is our public comment. For all those who, I know we're a small group here tonight, but for those who don't know, at the public comment period, if you have something on the agenda you'd like to speak to, we'll wait till that agenda item comes up. But if you'd like to speak to the council about any other topic at all, we give you 3 minutes to address the council, and we have one blue card tonight, and that's from Cameron Jane. So you have the podium. And Lori will watch your 3 minutes.
God, the bell again.
I don't have a bell, but.
Hello, Mayor, and to the City Council, the esteemed City Council this time. I feel like I was a duck out of water, but I felt so good about being able to participate in the election. I really do. I realize how difficult your job is, especially with the homeless situation that you guys, I mean, my God, this was an intense firing squad, and you guys handled it beautifully. I also appreciate how much work, EJ, you've been doing, like with being out in rain, sleet, and snow out in that corner, Jesus, with her group, and so it was fabulous. For me, it's like a production, it's like being on a stage, being able to do a good job. And thank you so much. I even got like from Joe going, you know, Jane, you're only focusing on Facebook. You should be doing other things. But of course, I was like in battle with my beautiful opponent, Molly. And I have to say, this had to be so hard for Molly because I was snarky, I was like strong, I was just, and I couldn't push your buttons at all. The only thing I could do, Molly, was, okay, Jane, or something like that, or whatever, Jane, whatever. And I just went, I have to hand it to you because you are feisty. I know you have that fire in you, but you played it so straight, clean, to the top, just beautifully. And so with that, I would love to give
Carrots
to EJ, because EJ worked so hard on this. EJ.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honey.
Thank you.
There's our picture.
You one hell of a, oh, God.
That doesn't take photos.
Great competitor. Thank you.
Wait, Jane, do that again.
This is the new normal.
Of course,
Awesome.
this was to our, this is all the way from Las Vegas too. Thank you so much, honey. Thank you.
Uh-oh.
It's like Christmas already.
It's getting better and better.
We're moving up in the world of carrots.
Taking notes, James?
And I wasn't sure that Molly would ever allow me to get close to her, but this is to you, Molly.
Oh my God, Jane.
You did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you guys, I'm glad you guys have a really hell of a job in the next year. It's hot. See, I mean, blood is running hot in the town, and I give you all the respect and wish you luck, and I'll be there to support you on the outer side.
Thanks for running things, Jane.
And just to say, Jane, it takes a great person to come up here and just to do what you do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And you did it in under 3 minutes this time.
I'm learning.
Figured it out.
Maybe in 10 years.
Thank you, Jane, for coming in. We don't have any other speakers who want to address? Okay. So we have before us now the consent agenda, which you see is the just a park request and the minutes.
I move we approve the consent agenda, which is just the park request, and the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Very good. So now under new business, Sonia will talk to us about a local agreement with Thurston County District Court.
Good evening, Mayor Foster and council members. So I come before you tonight with a recommendation to authorize Mayor Foster to sign and enter into the interlocal agreement with Thurston County District Court for our retrial costs for the period of January 1st of 2020 through December 31st of 2022. You will see that on my recommendation, there's a little typo. I put 2019. It's actually 2022. And historically, the city of Yelm Court has had an interlocal agreement with Thurston County for many years to handle our jury trials. As you all know, we only handle bench trials in our court, and so anytime there's a case that does not settle, we contract with the county to handle our jury trials. And these fees include the jury selection fees and jury trial daily fees. Current agreement that we have right now, it expires at the end of this year, December 31, 2019. And the Yelm Municipal Court in Thurston County District Court would really seek to continue that relationship that we have, continuing to provide jury trial services, as well as mental health court and veterans court program to our Yelm court cases. The jury trial contract, though, the only changes that have been made is really just the fees. And this is just, they go based on the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And so you will notice that states the fee, under the filing fees, it states what the fee would be for 2020. And it would adjust. Yeah, there will be an annual increase, but not to be greater than 5%. And again, it just goes back to the CPI. As far as the mental health and veterans court program, it's also included in this same agreement, but there's not any extra fees to the city. 1% of the sales tax that we have here in Yelm covers any therapy courts, so any community courts, any mental health programs, veteran court programs, and so it's all covered through that 1% sales tax. But we did add it to this contract because if we have a defendant that meets the criteria for this mental health and veteran courts program, then we would transfer, just like we would do with jury trials, we would transfer that case to the caseworker in Thurston County District Court, and they would go over all the criteria, make sure that they're a great candidate for this program, and it would be a 2-year program. They will remain with the case until close. So, let's see, I also did put a little bit of stats. Our last jury trials we had was in 2015. We had 2 jury trials. Since then, we haven't had any jury trials. All of our cases have settled in court or through a bench trial. So I think that's pretty good. So at this time, I just recommend the council members that you authorize Mayor J.W. Foster to sign this interlocal agreement with Thurston County District. Any of you have any questions?
Directly, Mayor? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay. My first question is, this itself, the proposal itself doesn't cost us anything, the interlocal agreement. It's once we have a jury trial, it'll cost money, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Second question, if no one else has a question first. Okay, I'll let someone else go on. Okay. Second question, say we said, no, we don't want to do this interlocal agreement. What happens if we do have a jury trial? What do we do with that?
We have to contract with someone. We don't have, in our court, this current situation we have, our court is not set up to handle a jury trial, and the court defendants have the right to try their case in front of a jury. So we would have to either contract with district court, or we would have to fund the setup of our courtroom to be able to handle jury trials and pay witness fees and all of those. I'm sure very costly.
Yeah. So you're saying it would cost a lot more to not sign it and do our own jury trial here in Yelm?
Numbers, but I'm sure that yes, they would be.
I just want to check just to confirm that.
So my question was, I know that this is beyond the scope of this request, but I know that there's a lot of overcrowding in the district court up in Thurston County, and I was wondering, I know that the idea has been kind of batted around a little bit. Since the courtroom isn't actually used except on like 2 Thursdays a month, Is there any way that we could have like some kind of a Thurston County Circuit judge that could like maybe come down to Yelm from like Superior Court and District Court and like hold all of the cases here rather than, you know, people from...
You mean like hold all of the jury trial cases?
No, just hearings, you know, you can, not necessarily jury trials, but just hearings, like they would just hold a court date here, you know, just to ease some of the burden up there.
So I just want to make sure that I understand. So they could come and use our courtroom for some of the Thurston County related cases, not the Yale Municipal Court cases?
Right.
And I'm sure there could be a way to do that if they were interested in coming all the way down to Yelm to...
Yeah, the judge would have to travel, but an interesting concept.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I think that's something that can be... I just don't know if it's something that we would approach ourselves, so they would be interested in doing cases here in the city of Yelm. So,
Thanks.
Yeah, Joe.
Mayor, I move that we sign and enter the interlocal agreement with Thurston County District Court for jury trial fees, mental health, and veteran court.
Second.
Okay, before we have further discussion, Sonia wants to add something else to this.
yes, thank you, Mayor. So when I submitted, my apologies again, when I submitted the interlocal agreement for your packet, there is a typo on the very last page, which is the signature page. It has Michael Graham as the person signing the contract. That is my typo. It should be J.W. Foster. So I did present a revised copy of that. That states J.W. Foster. That's...
We have to amend the thing, or is we? Okay, so we're good to go. Thank you.
So any further discussion on council's part? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I see in this that there's an extension possibility, so it's for 2 years, this agreement, but can we just extend that at the end of the 2 years without the rigmarole of coming before council, or do we have to confirm this every 2 years?
I think we have to do this every 2 years, but we could always just do like a short amendment and say that, you know, unless...
Nothing's changing.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless either party wants to terminate the contract. Did you want me to look into that?
Just check, because it looks to me like you can do that without even having to come to council, that as long as nothing's changing, we've agreed to this in concept that you can just keep bumping it forward.
I
Change.
actually like it to come to council, though. I think it's good for us all to keep an eye and an ear on stuff, just so we keep touch, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in 2 years.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got the rest of the year off.
All right. So now up is Heidi McDonald for the budget process update. But before she gets started, I just want to say how pleased we are in this building to have Heidi working in the job as finance director. She's done a phenomenal job. She was doing a phenomenal job behind the scenes, which is why our audit turned out so good and why this process is coming along so well. And the day-to-day stuff that's happening in the finance department under her leadership is truly a testament to her professionalism. So don't let us down here.
I'd like to give you an update on our budget process. We need to do a budget amendment and mid-biennium update every year between September 1st and December 31st of the first year of the biennium. That will allow us to authorize any budget changes that you've made through the year officially, as well as correct course for things that have not come to fruition or have changed since the budget was done. The first step in that will actually occur this Thursday at the Finance Committee meeting. You will have the first look at the budget amendment for your review. We'll then bring it to the November 26th meeting, along with a public hearing and adoption of the ad valorem property tax. That would be just certifying what is already in the original budget And it is due to the county assessor a little bit earlier this year than normal, so I'll be hiking that down the very next morning. The next step is to review it and take recommendations during the study session on December 3rd. Then have the second, final, and possibly final public hearing, and adopt the budget amendment. And that is it. Does anybody have any questions?
I want to ask you a question for you.
Go ahead.
So the budget amendment is going to, I'm guessing, include the things we had to adjust money for, like the park and the splash pad?
Yes,
Okay.
that is included in there.
That's what I want to make sure.
There we go.
I didn't want to take your thunder, so.
Well, gotta be done, right?
Okay, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, actually, so then after this, when January starts is when we're gonna be starting the new budget calendar, right? Okay.
Okay, very good. EJ, you still here?
I'm back here. I'm behind you.
And floral arrangement. All right, good. No other questions, Heidi, so thank you very much for your work and that update. We have no old business before us, so we're to updates. As you know, Michael Graham is home recuperating from a procedure. He's doing quite well, but he made the correct decision to keep his anesthesia brain at home. And I know you're watching, Michael, so we're all wishing you well, and we'll see you next week when you get back to work. So he has probably sent you all emails prior to, but he's on strict rules not to email, pretty strict rules, not to email until he's out of that recovery. But if you do have questions, please get them to me and we'll work on them for you. So with that, we'll, Grant or Sonia, do you have any other updates that you'd like to share with council?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Please. Kind of standing in for Michael, just a couple of quick department updates. The Planning Commission held an open house on our updated UDC, which is our development regulations. We're reviewing that consistent with the updated comprehensive plan requires the development regulations to implement those new policies. Tammy's been doing a great job with that and had a very successful open house last week in that nobody apparently had questions because three. Yeah. Lori's reports out that we have hired a new wastewater treatment plant operator on December 2nd. So we're pretty much up to speed out at the water reclamation facility. And then to kind of, when you're still here, the IT guys have been working hard on getting the courtroom and the councils out of there. So we're halfway through. Sonia was a little bit concerned this morning when she walked in. Court's on Thursday, but we will be ready for it. We're ripping it apart from a technological standpoint to put it back together as a more functional courtroom, which will include the ability to have video arraignment with a lot of good things there, and kind of fits in with the. Eventually, we hope to be able to accommodate jury trials at some point. Not now because it's expensive. We're kind of building with that in mind. That was all I had, Michael. Thank you.
That was like 15 minutes short if that was from Michael.
I was going to say.
He's going to text me in a minute. So.
He'll text me after that too.
He just texted and said thank you all. So. Stop texting. Councilmember Curry.
Okay, on election day, Councilmember Stillwell, the mayor, and myself were at McKenna Elementary School. They combined 2 4th grade classes, created an imaginary city, and had problems and wanted to have a city council meeting. So the mayor was there, I was there, Tad was there, Bill DeVore was there, Brian Horton, and the McKenna elementary teacher. We opened the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, roll call, and then we have public comment about blackouts in this town. Now, I'm not going to do the whole story. I'm going to give you some and you some. But anyhow, then this town must have a lot of money because they had 12 engineers that explained the whole problem and what process they went through. So now the rest of that is up to you, Tad, after that. Okay, then I had SWAC. And the solid waste management plant is almost to the Department of Ecology. And it will have to start being rewritten as soon as they get it approved. And they give us a great drone demonstration. I ought to have a drone. I just have to have a drone. It's amazing. They're going to be able to tell with this drone when it's flying over the closed solid waste there if gases are pushing up or going down and how it's sinking or rising and what they can do. It's just amazing. And then I had Southeast Thurston Fire, and they are ready to they're going to apply for the bond, the money, this capital improvement budget money. And Thurston County is just about done with their approvals on both the Rainier Station and Lawrence Lake. And then the mayor asked me to represent him at the Veterans Day program yesterday, and it was wonderful. Very good. Joe was there. James was there.
Very good. Thanks, EJ. All right. Councilmember Carmody.
At the Economic Development Committee, Terry and I sat in and reviewed the Planning Commission's recommendations for the updates to the UDC, and we both thought that they were pretty on point. We liked what they had to say. I mean, there's still more work to go, but this is a really good starting point. The intercity transit, we're very excited to hold the inaugural run of the One route yesterday. And the One is, it's called the Bus Rapid Transit System, and it runs from the Martin Way Park and Ride all the way over to Capitol Mall in Olympia in half an hour. And it's free of charge to ride. And it runs every 15 minutes, so get on the bus and ride.
How many stops?
Really cool. I don't know how many stops, but they're limited because it's an express. So, but I mean, that's really fast, you know, to get from one end of town all the way to the other. So, yeah, and we also reviewed some new applications for the Community Advisory Committee.
Councilmember Cole.
General Government Committee last week, we just reviewed some of our processes, some of the old recommendations we had, and talked about some stuff. We got a couple members. We had Tad was missing because he was at the school, which was awesome, so no worries there. Besides that, I have Medic 1 next week, and I have Public Works this Thursday where we're going to meet the interim. So that'll be nice, meet and greet. That's all.
All right, Councilmember Stillwell.
Well, the McKenna event was really interesting because my daughter is one of the 4th grade teachers, so that was really kind of nice to see her interact with her students. And it was an entire science unit, I guess would be the best way to say it. And all the kids did a great job. It was amazing to see their thought process. They had all these solutions and problems, and they asked amazing questions. It was really incredible to see those kids really think through the critical thinking, and not just because they were my daughter's kids, but it was part of it. Anyhow, it was really good, and I can't remember the names of the city because it was Ergville and all these electric names, but it was really good. I went to the Planning Commission open house, so I must have been one of 3.
No, we didn't count you.
Oh, I didn't even count. It was really interesting. I don't often get to go to those things because I forget about them, but it was really interesting to watch and interact with everybody and ask questions when nobody was around and learn. So I learned a lot there. I represented the city of Yelm in something that's really important to me called the Strophe Foundation. And many of you know that my family has battled with addiction issues. One of my kids is a recovering heroin addict, and unfortunately for him, he didn't have an opportunity to go to drug court. But the Strophe Foundation was founded by Judge Strophe in 1998. He was a judge, in 1998, and they started drug court, therapy court. And it evolved from that to drug court, veterans court, and mental health court. Anyhow, they were raising money because what happens when somebody's charged with a crime, a felony, for example, they go to jail, they get clean for that short period of time, and they get released. Usually, like my son, when he was released in Montana, he was given a $3 check
for bus fare, and if I hadn't been there, which many people at that level, after 8.5 months in jail, have nobody, I was actually there to take him to cash his $3 check, which they charge $1 to cash. Anyhow, so the Strophe Foundation raises money. It's a nonprofit that Judge Strophe is in charge of. It was really good. They give money to these people that need help getting to these appointments. It's really strict. Drug court and all these courts are really strict, the requirements. So it helps them getting haircuts, to bus fare, to transportation, and really reduces the reoffend rate or relapse rate from about 70% to 14%. So it's amazing, and people can have their own preconceived ideas, but these addicts and mental health people and veterans, and I'm also a veteran, they just need a little bit of help. And without that help, the only thing they know to turn to is whatever got them there to start with. So it was really, it's not something I would have volunteered for, and I was asked by former Commissioner Bud Blake and Mayor Foster, because he was out of town, and it really, really was moving and incredible. And if you have an opportunity to check it out, just check it out. They have a website, and it was just a bunch of very passionate people from all ranges of city government and prosecutors and defense attorneys, all in the same room, and lawyers and other people. But it was really, really good, and they're doing great work. And if you can help them either with time or money or both, it would really be appreciated. And that's it, I guess, without getting over emotional.
Thank you very much for being representative. I know it's a big ask for that, and thank you for sharing your personal reflection on that. It's a good organization.
Amazing.
Appreciate you. Councilmember Wood, can you follow that?
Tough act to follow.
There you go.
As Councilmember Colt mentioned, attended the general government meeting, and it was more or less a updating or keeping up to speed on what exactly we're looking at presently. And unfortunately, I was taken out of the game before I was able to attend the TCOM meeting. Unforeseen situation that didn't allow me to attend, so I was unable to go to that. But tomorrow morning, I have my Transportation Policy Board meeting, 7 a.m., and looking forward to seeing all those happy Olympia folks.
Absolutely. They're good pastries, though. You can eat now.
I can. You're right. 7 a.m., my body's still saying no. So coffee's good, though.
I think that is the earliest of our regional meetings. Betty's comes fairly close, but doesn't start till about 8 usually, right, Joe? So.
It'd probably be not so exciting if it weren't so exciting. And
it is good stuff.
If I didn't have such a passion for transportation, I probably might trade with some of the other council members for that meeting. But I do enjoy it.
Tracy represents us well. They know Tracy and Yelm have been there after those meetings, so thank you for that. Councilmember DePino.
Mayor, last Tuesday, council was canceled. I was able to help out at Emmanuel Lutheran Church during their free meals and serve folks. They do that every Tuesday, so if we don't have a Tuesday meeting, feel free to stop on over there. You can always use the help there. I attended the naturalization ceremony over at JBLM. Soldiers were given earned their citizenship. And it was just a cool little ceremony. I've never been to a naturalization ceremony before. My mother was, when she immigrated over, she went through that process. It was kind of cool seeing that. And I happened to chat with one of the Korean American soldiers out there. And he was just telling his experience and how he had moved over to America when he was early, but he never had citizenship. And serving the military, he's earned it. And it was just really cool. Went to the football game and then part of that, I did want to mention, because yesterday was Veterans Day. Thank you, council members Carmody, Colt, Stillwell, and Mayor Foster for your service to this country. So thank you for that. And moving on, Friday, went to the football game. If you didn't hear, Yelm won. So we're in the state.
Well, where are they going now?
Kennewick. Yeah.
They are going to go to Kennewick.
Yep. So it was a great game. And I was going to do a resolution. I know I talked to a couple of you about it, and y'all support it. But just to turn around, because it was Veterans Day on Monday, it wouldn't have been fair for staff to get that done. But under advisement of Michael Graham, I think it's smart to do something at the very end, whether it's probably not going to be next weekend or this weekend, but whenever they're done with the hopefully championships, as they're crowned champions of Washington State, we can do a little resolution for them at that point. So. And I will be attending the game on Saturday if anyone wants to go and cheer them on with me in Kennewick, 1 p.m. Other than that, Steady is this Friday, which I won't be in town because, well, not only for that, but for business over in Eastern Washington. So I'll ask Tad to go ahead and do that, and he said he would. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be good breakfast over at Lucky Eagle. So I'm sad to miss it, but glad you could
eat once in a while, so that's good.
Buffet. It should be good. I won't also be at the finance meeting, so I will try to call in for that instead, if that's okay, Heidi. Great. And lastly, I was wondering, is there a contract with Prothman regarding our public works director interim?
Yes.
Is that something that city council has to approve, or does that not meet the threshold?
It's not, but we'd be glad to share the contents of that contract with you all so that you can see what we've done to fill the interim position.
Perfect. That's all I have. Thanks.
Well, last but certainly not.
Well, this month has gone by so fast, I had to literally look at my calendar to see what happened between last meeting and here. But apparently it was just a whole bunch of fun chamber events. So I went to a chamber after hours where Yelm was invited for the first time to join with Lacey in their chamber. It was over at the casino, so we had to dress up for Halloween. So that was very fun.
I missed that.
Yes, you did. But I think you were at everything else. Chamber after hours, 507 Tap House. We're there. Opening of the Boys Girls Club. That was very enjoyable, very moving. The Nisqually Valley Gala. Very nice event. And today's chamber lunch. But other than that, on a more serious note, our meeting, Molly, at EDC, we went over the Planning Commission things, and I shared with Molly, because we hadn't talked about this before, that I represented the Thurston County Housing Authority in trying to get them to purchase a piece of land in the city that would have been perfect for one of these affordable housing developments. And it's very frustrating because the only wild card, as she says, there's things you can't change, and the price of land is something you can't change. So I suggested to her, could we pay what we need to pay for the piece of land and work backwards and see if we can help the developer along the way with other costs and still move forward. And so Molly suggested that there were some REIT tax things or some incentives that were new on the books from the state that maybe Grant and you could look into, and we could see if we could somehow weave backwards and make something happen, because we have these things right at our fingertips and we just can't make them happen. So if you know what we're referring to, okay, maybe you could let us know down the road.
We have been talking about that. We'll talk some more about that. We certainly want to make some action happen.
Tammy didn't feel comfortable talking about it. She said that's more Grant's department.
Yeah.
So
It's new stuff, so.
But it's encouraging to see that the council, by not by action but by nods of ascension, seem to be very much in favor of working towards some solutions here locally to help create more affordable housing in our area. And by affordable housing, of course, we're talking about nice homes that people can afford they're not the mansions, they're not mobile homes. There's something that people can start out in and live, work, and play in their own community. That's kind of what we're shooting for there. Good, Terry? Thank you so much. Oops, I'm going to go back up to the start here. I did something at the bottom. So, first I just want to tag in on what EJ and Tad were talking about. It was a fun little experiment with the fourth graders. They did a great job. And much to the horror at first of the fourth grade teachers, I went off script at the end and said, so are there any questions from the audience? Which was comprised of 50 squirming fourth graders. And it was just funny to watch your daughter's face at that moment. And then it turned into a beam of absolute pride because these fourth grade kids in the audience were asking the most legitimate questions. I started to answer the first one, and the fourth grade engineer goes, "Excuse me, Mayor, I've got this." I'm like, do it, you know, and they knew their subject so well. So it's a real testament to where our kids are in school and to the teachers that lead them through that education process. It was a really good experience. So back on the 4th, I got to spend some time with Attorney General Bob Ferguson. It's just one of the things I like to do from time to time is keep in touch with our leaders in Olympia and talk about things that, you know, more of a state level, but can sometimes then have an effect on Yelm. Nothing that's going to come to council anytime soon, but it was just good to speak with him. Best of Nisqually, that Harry mentioned, of course, the city received 2 of the awards. One was for Best Summer Event, Prairie Days, and the other for Best Destination, Yelm City Park. So kudos to those who made the park.
Best destination was Mount Rainier.
No, it wasn't destination. It was
City Park. Best park.
It was like that. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
Recreation stuff.
Some park, recreation, best place to hang out.
I thought it was prettiest park.
Prettiest park. Anyway.
I know there was some.
We won.
Yeah, we did. It was good.
We got a major reward.
Best park to play in a splash pad.
That's great. Best park that wasn't in another category or something. A lot of categories. It goes, you know, without saying it was Veterans Day, but there were just so many demonstrations of support and respect for our armed services members. We had first the memorial for Sergeant Griffin at Tap Room 507, the VFW event that was held in our community center on Sunday, and then the event out at the cemetery. Thank you, Councilmember DePino and EJ and Councilmember-elect, maybe, depending on how the final count goes. Awesome. And then I was able to go, because you were able to represent, I was able to go to the Rotunda, Capitol Rotunda for the first time, and what a ceremony that is. If you have a chance next year, it's really a great thing to attend. Today I was able to meet with Sheriff Snaza. Again, this is something that we do annually. We just sort of touch base with each other about how things are going. The 2 remarkable things is he's so happy with the relationship that the Sheriff's Department has with the Yelm Police Department. He says we are the closest in that relationship of any of the other smaller communities and municipalities that his deputies work with, so appreciate that. And then we had quite a discussion, and I think we'll have more later as a council at a study session perhaps about the courthouse and some of the other issues that will be coming forward to council for support at some point. Very good. And then moving forward, Christmas in the Park is December 7th. I know it's sneaking up on us. We have Thanksgiving coming up, which is awesome. But it's a late Thanksgiving, and then shortly thereafter, we go right into Christmas in the Park, December 7th. So be prepared for that. The city's going to be sponsoring that as we always have, and it's going to be quite a lot of fun, the parade in the morning, and then events all day long at City Park. But also, on the same day, Homes for Our Troops is having the key ceremony for local resident Sergeant Aaron Boyle, who they've built a home for down on Bald Hills Road. That ceremony will start at 1 o'clock. They bumped it out later for us so that we could have our stuff at the City Park, which was Best Park, by the way, I was just told. And so those of you who are interested, like 300 people showed up at the Boyle family's home for the landscaping party. And so I expect to see quite a few people out there for the key ceremony as well, and welcome them into our community. And if there's nothing else, we'll go to the order. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, council. Thank you, staff.
It's also Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th.
Thank you. Right. I knew that date was in my mind.
Good one.
All of them. Pick one.